listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots, know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We're a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender on Ron Siegel Radio. Welcome back, Simon Polito, back from the abyss. Welcome.
Thank you, Ron, for having me back on. It's been a while.
Absolutely. Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. No, not what you're thinking. That's not what we're celebrating. Today's National Garfield the Cat Day. I don't even, do they have those cartoons on anymore? They do. Okay. Josh has got the little one, so I don't see the cartoons as much anymore. Used to be so much fun when I was little. I should say that. I was never little. When I was young, it was Saturday mornings. You got to go out and watch the cartoons, and you'd watch Roadrunner and Scooby-Doo and all those shows. I guess in this day and age where everything is politically correct, you can't have some of those things anymore. So I guess a fat cat is still acceptable. And I use the term fat very loosely around this show. Let's see what else we have going on today. National Watch Day. Okay, so we do have a question of the day. Digital smartwatch or dial watch? Do people even have dial watches anymore? You a watch guy, Simon?
I'm not going to lie. I love my dial watch. I am wearing my digital one today, but
okay.
I love my
No, wait,
dial watch.
That looks like a smartwatch.
It's a smartwatch. But
okay.
Yeah.
Those LED ones, do they even make the LED ones anymore? Or is it all smart?
I think so.
Yeah, it's all gone to the smartwatch. How many devices do I need to tell me what time it is? I carry my phone around. Most of us do. I've got an iPad or 3 or 4 of those. I've got a computer. Everything's got a clock on it. So what do I need to wear a watch for? It's just me. Of course, then again, I have people that get mad at me that, why don't you wear a wedding ring? Well, who's the wedding ring for? Right? I'm 37 years into a life sentence here. So I kind of understand this stuff. My wife doesn't say anything. I don't wear it. I used to get rashes underneath the thing. I got it. It's in the safe. Don't tell anybody where I live because then I'll want to go to my safe. But I digress. The question of the day, put it in the comments if you would, please. Wait a second, Josh. We got to get a new question of the day up there. Do you prefer digital watch, smartwatch, or a regular dial watch? Or maybe nothing at all, none at all. Put it in the comments. If you're watching us on the replay, put it in the comments. If you're listening to us live on ABC News and Talk, AM 1490 or FM 98.1, yell at the radio. We'll hear you. Just throw that out there. What the heck? Let's see what the markets are doing today. There are no markets today. They're closed for the holiday. And I don't even talk about this particular holiday. Why don't I talk about the holiday? Not that I have anything against it, but I'm against all holidays that have to do with segregation. And I know that this is a freedom one, but you know something? Aren't we just people? Can't we just get to the point where it's not white, black, green, yellow, Mexican, Asian, African, whatever, Panamanian? You know, who cares, right? If you're a good person, I don't care what color you are. If you're a bad person, I don't care what color you are. If you're a crook, you should be in jail. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you're a good person, you know, same thing. So, not a big fan of any of the segregation issues. And that's what I call this. Get off my soapbox now, at least for a little bit. Let's take a look and see what the gas prices are doing. Do we want to look and see what the gas prices are doing? Because there are some people on the road. I might have to even go visit a gas station or two late. $4.82. We're down a penny from yesterday. $4.82. Should be excited that we've gone down a penny a gallon, and we're $4.82 when we do know that our friends in Mississippi are paying $2.93 a gallon. $2.93 a gallon. If my math is correct, that's about $1.90 less than what we're paying in California. But we know we like taxes, we like fees, and I know we do that because who do we vote into office? Just throw that out there, and we keep voting for the same people. I noticed a commentary today that the prices in Hollywood, real estate prices in Hollywood, are down 8%. Okay, so why would that be? Well, it's pretty simple. You get enough of this garbage that's going on in Hollywood and in all of Los Angeles County. You know, I lead a lending team, and we chat about this on a regular basis. Why would anybody want to buy investment property in Los Angeles? And I know there's some out there, and I know some people are doing it, but why? You've got so much regulation. There's so many other places people can go to. You look at it and say, okay, why would somebody go to Los Angeles? So what is the reason that some of the folks are giving for when they survey why real estate values have dropped? Not just slowed down, but they're actually going down in Hollywood. Let's see. I don't know about the air. I'm not a real estate guy, and my car sputters at the county line. It does not like my cars. I got nice cars, but they don't like going into Los Angeles as much as I don't like going in there. So I know you get to go over there, Simon.
I gotta go there today.
Okay, so see, he can't take my car. It'll start sputtering right there at the county line. But here's the issue: you got the mansion tax. So if the properties are a lot of money, high value properties, they've got a mansion tax. You can't evict somebody if they don't pay their rent. You have rent control in certain areas. And homeless, they've got more rights than the owner of the property. And you wonder why people would rather buy in San Bernardino than Hollywood? Just throw that out there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to chat with Simon Polito. We're talking about auctions. How do you maximize the sales price of your property? Probably the easiest way in the world to really know exactly what the market is for a property. And I'm a big believer that houses never get bid. No one ever pays too much or too little for property, because the market determines what the property pricing is, as long as somebody knows the property is available. So we're going to talk about that. Secrets to selling your home in under 28 days. What you need to know about today's down payment program. 7 things to do if your FICO scores drop, and more. You can reach me anytime off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They know what loans are closing at because they're the ones that handle the locking of them for, again, 35%. Now, just want you to remember this. They tell us the points. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or APR. They tell us the number you need to put in your mortgage calculator in order to get the payment, principal and interest payment. What did they lock at yesterday? 6.877, 30-year conventional. That was up. 30-year jumbo, 7.102. That was up. FHA, 30-year, 6.732. That was up. USDA, that was flat. 30-year, 6.709. And for our favorite people in the whole wide world, our veterans, the VA loan locked at 6.433. That's on a 30-year fixed rate. I had to change that a little bit because you know me, I'm a big fan of Geneva's Home Select program because I like the idea of the lowest effective APR that I've seen, the lowest mandatory payment that I've seen, the shortest payoff term that I've seen, and the least amount of interest paid of any loan in the market. So if you can get a win on all four of them. Oh, and I forgot about the fact that you get access to your equity in your real estate in case you need it. 5 out of 5, is that called a 5-star? Just throw that out there for you. Let's see if there's any news. There's not a lot of news out because of the markets being closed today. And it is pretty odd. I mean, does it surprise anybody that today's the only holiday that other than Veterans Day, I think today's the only Independence Day, the only holiday that I know of that we celebrate, exactly on the date. So, there's nothing going there. NFIB came out with some numbers this morning. That is the National Federation of Independent Business. They're not looking good. None of the numbers that we see right now are really looking too good. It's a bit of a odd situation when we watch these things because, as I mentioned yesterday, we get so much bad data coming out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And when I say bad data, a lot of times bad is a relative term. It's based on your opinion. Well, it is my opinion and I'm right. But here's the reason I say that is when you take a look at these issues and you say, okay, 10 months out of the last 12, they've had to revise the BLS data down. What is it? If there's a statistician around, can you let me know? What are the odds of that happening? 10 out of 12? It would be like, what if I flipped a coin and got heads 10 out of 12 times? It's just not very likely. So, and I don't think the people there are being malicious. I think they've just got a bad model. And we know that because when we look at the reports that come out of the census, where the BLS is only modeling their numbers based on a small sample, and then you've got the census that looks at the same data, but a sample of 11 million businesses, and they show that we're losing jobs, not gaining jobs, and the Federal Reserve talks about how we're doing well, and the administration, well, I'm not going to go there, but they're all talking about these issues. The fact of the matter is we're losing jobs. The jobs market is not good. And when it finally hits the media, what's going to end up happening is the same thing that we see all the time. Jerome Powell's been talking about the idea that he wants to get a soft landing.
Such an idiot. Such an
Yeah,
idiot.
I know.
Such an idiot.
Now,
Such an idiot.
I'm going to say, why do they have a lawyer in charge of the Federal Reserve Board as the chairman of the Federal Reserve? Wouldn't it make more sense to have an economist? Because what is the definition of economics? And boy, this was just hammered into me when I was in college, and I still remember it 40 years later. We study the past to better understand the present in hopes of predicting the future. Okay, study the past. We know that the last 12 BLS jobs reports have been wrong, or 10 out of them have been overstated. They're all wrong, but 10 have been overstated. So we understand that now, and we know that if jobs continue to go bad in the future, we have a recession. So why is the Federal Reserve not taking action now before we get into a full-blown recession and we have millions of people out of work instead of hundreds of thousands? So I just throw that out there. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Today, we're thrilled to have Simon Polito, an esteemed international real estate agent and auctioneer with over 2 decades of experience. Simon recently returned from Sydney will enlighten us on the changing market dynamics, the Australian commission structure, and his proven auction method to sell homes quickly. Simon Polito, welcome.
Thank you for having me here, Ron.
That was a pretty good introduction, wasn't
Oh,
it?
I like it. You can do that all day.
I'll share it with you. So back from Sydney.
Yeah, I was there for the last 6 weeks. I just flew in a couple of days ago, and
I thought that was a Brooklyn accent. I don't know.
yeah, it's Brooklyn or Massachusetts, Boston, something like that.
So you were 6 weeks.
6 weeks back there, and I redid my whole license course over there while I was there, and I learned all about how the commission structures, legislation, and everything that goes with it is coming together. And that's the interesting thing. The guy who trained me was actually part of the lawsuit with NAR over here. They flew him out from Australia. So I was getting direct feedback and being taught by the guy who's part of the case.
So he's part of the problem.
Possibly, depending on how you look at it, correct.
Well, so explain to me what you've gleaned from all this.
Yeah, so what I understand is, like, look, the Australian model is a very aggressive model, but it works extremely well. It's a lower commission rate. You can't work both sides of the transaction. You can only legally and ethically work one side. If you want to be a buyer's agent, you're a buyer's agent.
You know something, to me, I talk about two scenarios. Don't want you to get mad at me.
No, right.
So, well, what's it? Justin Timberlake. Isn't he the one that just got arrested yesterday?
Did he really?
Yeah. So he gets arrested for a DUI in the Hamptons. Allegedly. I mean, it's not a closed case. But do you think that he's going to hire the district attorney to represent him in court? No. If you're getting divorced, are you going to hire your wife or your husband's attorney to represent you? No. So why, in your largest transaction that most of us ever do, the purchase of a home or the financing of a home, why would you hire the agent of the other party? Doesn't make sense to me.
And that's why they're rolling this out. Because now, when I moved over here 9 years ago, I was blown away at the fact that you could actually legally represent both sides.
Yeah.
And get paid for it.
So if you're representing both sides, who do you represent?
That's why I say
yourself.
Yeah. Who are you more biased towards?
Right.
A seller wants $1 million, but you got a buyer who's got 1.1. What number do you give the buyer and the seller?
Right. Well, you just want to get the deal done.
Exactly.
That's right. So it's like, how do I get the deal done? Not trying to maximize either one's position.
Correct. So whereas in Australia, you have a listing agent and you have a buyer's agent, 2 completely separate companies.
Okay.
And that buyer's agent's job is to help you source, negotiate, and complete the transaction.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and you pay them a fee for it.
And that makes sense.
Right.
And I'm going to guess that the more you pay them, the more of them that are going to want to work for you.
On average, it's 1.5% to 2%.
1.5% to 2%
to the buyer's agent. And then the same for the listing side. It's between 1.5% and 2%, depending on the location. Sydney property prices, medium sales price is $2 million right now in Sydney.
Wow.
So you're dealing with a higher level of price point, which means that's why the commissions are down. The biggest thing that no one's mentioned once that I've seen is that in Australia, the sellers pay for all the marketing.
Okay.
So we call it in Australia vendor paid marketing because the seller is called a vendor in Australia. But over here, what they have not implemented is, look, we get a higher commission structure right now currently, but we're paying all the marketing.
Who's we?
We being the listing agent,
Ah, okay.
right? Now that doesn't happen in Australia. The agents that pay for marketing in Australia aren't in business anymore. They're broke. Because
They're only working on 1.5 to 2%.
and you haven't got a seller who's motivated. They've got no money into it.
No skin in the game.
Exactly. So this is where I find it's going to be interesting and how they adopt it into California, particularly because I haven't heard any mention about who's paying for the marketing, but they want to drop our rates down to the Australian model.
Well, I'm on the other side of that coin, Simon. I think that other than us confusing the whole market, and from what I've heard, the latest number I heard out of what is it, almost $1 billion in settlement now.
Yeah.
The consumer is going to get $13. $13 is what the consumer is going to get.
what it is.
That's it.
Okay.
So who's getting all that money? The attorneys. No,
Yeah.
Does that surprise anybody at all?
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
$13 is what the and we've
That's mind blowing.
yeah we've turned an entire industry, market, and philosophy upside down, so that a handful of attorneys get mega millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Now on the other part of it, I'll throw this at you, Simon. Tell me what your thoughts are. I don't think anything's going to change in the commission world.
No, I don't think so either. I think there'll be a little bit of uneasiness and a little bit of unsureness as to what's really happening.
Sure.
But I believe it will return to a consistent market that we've been in before. This is going to eradicate a lot of the agents that have been doing shady activities.
Now, which broker? Who's your broker?
EXP.
EXP. Okay, so does EXP tell you how much you have to charge?
Not yet. I envision that's going. They say you can't do a listing for less than 1%.
Okay.
On a listing side, that's their rules. However, they haven't put a cap on how much you can charge.
And see, that's another part of the fallacy of this whole lawsuit is they're telling you, okay, you can't go below 1% because that's what I'm assuming that's what they take, so to speak.
Well, yeah, everyone's got to make some money out of the game.
Right. But it's not a fixed number, which was what the allegation was in the lawsuit in the first place, is that
it's never been a fixed number.
It's never been fixed.
No, it's always been an option.
Right.
It's never changed.
And the whole idea is those people that really understand human nature will understand that, you know something, I'm not going to work every day if I don't get paid. I'm betting you're not going to work every day to not get paid. And real estate agents are not going to work every day to not get paid. And let's see, if you pay a little more in many instances, do you think that you're going to get a little more effort or a little more attraction? Well, in commission sales, you say, you know something, I'm going to pay you 1%, and you go, okay, if I get to it, I get to it. 2%, maybe I'm starting to get a little bit more excited. Jump that up to 4%. Everybody and their uncle is calling everybody they know that wants to buy a piece of property because they're looking at it and saying, number one, this is right property for you. That's always number one, suitability. And number two, I can get paid if I sell a property. And I don't sell real estate, but I can get paid if I sell a property at 4% on $1 million property. If my math is right, that's about $40,000. And you're not paying anybody. This is what people don't want to talk about. No real estate agent, for the most part, I mean, very, very rare, does a real estate agent get paid for the transaction they're doing. They get paid for the experience they bring to the transaction.
Absolutely.
Right? Have you ever had a transaction that was totally smooth, nothing, no speed bumps?
There's been a few, not many.
Not
as many as I'd like, but yeah, it definitely has happened.
But why? So why do people go to you? They go to you for a simple reason.
They want the experience.
You know how to navigate those speed bumps.
They don't want to stress. They don't want the stress. They
Right.
don't want the harassment. They don't want to be disturbed all the time. They
might not even want to expose themselves. But we're going to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We'll also talk about what you need to know about today's down payment programs. Secrets to selling your home in under 28 days. 7 things to do if your FICO score drops and more. Reach me anytime. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down, sure. We might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Worried about mortgage rates? This is the wrong story. Let's see what you need to know about today's down payment. That's what we worried about mortgage rates yesterday. So if you're worried about mortgage rates, go back and listen to yesterday's broadcast on Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, number 1 on YouTube. What you need to know about today's down payment programs is what we're chatting about today. No denying it's gotten more challenging to buy a home, especially with today's mortgage rates and home price appreciation. And that may be one of the big reasons you're eager to look into grants and assistance programs to see if there's anything you qualify for in the way of help. But unfortunately, many home buyers feel like they don't know where to start. That's a simple one, 800-306-1990. A recent Bank of America Institute study asked prospective buyers where they lack confidence in the process and need more information. And this is what topped the list. 53% said they need help understanding home buying grant programs. So here's some information that can help you close that gap. What is down payment assistance? Ask Mortgage Reports explains. Quote, down payment assistance, DPA programs, offer loans and grants that can cover part or all of a home buyer's down payment and closing costs. More than 2,000 of these programs are available nationwide. DPA programs vary by location, but many home buyers could be in line for thousands of dollars in down payment assistance if they qualify, unquote. And here's some more good news. On top of all these programs, you probably don't need to save as much as your down payment as you think. Contrary to what you may have heard, typically you don't have to put 20% down unless it's specified by your loan type or lender. So you likely don't need to save as much up front, and there are programs designed to make your down payment more achievable. This sounds like a win-win. It's amazing how many people just don't understand this process, and that's why we got connected with First Home IQ. And you can go to rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and just get a little gauge of what your understanding is of the home buying process. rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. First-time and repeat buyers are often eligible. It's also worth mentioning that it's not just first-time home buyers that are eligible for many of these programs. That means whether you're looking to buy your first house or your fifth, there could be an option for you, as Down Payment Resources notes, quote, you don't have to be a first-time buyer. Over 39% of all programs are for repeat home buyers who have owned a home in the past 3 years, unquote. Additional down payment resources that can help. Here are a few of the down payment assistance programs that are helping many buyers achieve their dream of home ownership even now. Teacher Next Door is designed to help teachers, first responders, health providers, government employees, active duty military personnel, and veterans reach their down payment goals. Veterans, you have no down payment, so don't worry about it. Active duty military, you may qualify for no down payment. Fannie Mae provides down payment, and that, well, I'll see. We'll see if it's in the report here. Fannie Mae provides down payment assistance to eligible first-time buyers living in majority Latino communities. Freddie Mac also has options designed specifically for home buyers with modest credit scores and limited funds for a down payment. The 3x30 program lays out actionable strategies to add 3 million new Black homeowners by 2030. These programs offer valuable resources for potential buyers, making it easier to secure down payment and realize their dream of home ownership. Native American Down Payment Resource highlights 42 U.S. home buyer assistance programs across 14 states that ease the path to home ownership by providing support with down payments and other associated costs. And hey, don't forget my favorite, Homes for Heroes. Why is it my favorite? Well, we are the #1 lending team in the entire United States for Homes for Heroes. That's for military, active or retired, first responders. That's law enforcement, fire, nurses, for educators. And I think there's one other category that I'm forgetting, but #1 lending team in America for this group of people. We love first Homes for Heroes. If you want more information on any of these, the best place to start, give me a call at 800-306-1990. We'll be able to share more details about what may be available, including other programs designed to serve specific professions and communities. And even if you don't qualify for these types of programs, we can help see if there are any other federal, state, and local options available. Last time I looked, there was 352 down payment assistance programs in the state of California alone. 352. Bottom line, affordability is a challenge. So if you're looking to buy, you're going to want to make sure you're taking advantage of any and all resources available. Again, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So that is the real-time real estate segment. Again, brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continuing our conversation, we are chatting this morning. Simon Polito is with us. So Simon, I saw in the notes, 28 days to get a property sold.
Absolutely. Or less.
Or less.
Yes. In this current market.
What about even in Hollywood?
We did one. We actually just closed one in North Hollywood last month.
Okay.
Which we sold. It had been on the market for over a year with several other agents. And we came in 28 days and we got it sold. Okay.
So and so do you have to give it away for that?
No, we actually got the realistic price. Obviously, like you pointed out earlier, the Hollywood market has dropped. And we had a seller who bought a flip in the heat of the market and didn't calculate a market decline, generally calculate a market increase. So it's been a lot of education. That's what auction does. Like you pointed out earlier, it's worth what someone is willing to pay. That's where the market sees value.
How does the auction work? I mean, do you just go out there and say, okay, well, you want to start bidding? And
yeah,
what's the process?
Yes and no. So it's a 28-day program, like we discussed. It consists of a 1-hour open house twice a week.
1 hour open house.
1 hour open house twice a week. So say a Wednesday and a Saturday, for example's sake. And that happens for 3 weeks. And then on the 4th weekend, you'll have yours truly at the property calling a live auction. So people have 3 weeks from the start of us marketing it to do their research, look over we do all the reports and disclosures on the property as well. So we get a home inspection, termite report, seller's disclosures, NHD, prelim, any HOA CCNRs if it's part of one, or any material facts like permits or anything that comes with the property, we procure before we even go active.
Oh, that's a good deal.
So then you know what you're buying.
So one of the big things, obviously, with a lot of auctions is our connotation is it's distress and I'm buying something I have no clue about.
Correct. It's always buyer beware. You don't know what you're going to get. You might get a squatter. You might have a dilapidated home. We don't know. But with us, we're not touching anything that's distress. We're doing everyday traditional listings.
Okay.
Just instead of you listing your home for $1 million as a traditional agent, we'd come in and list it at $699 or $799, depending on how strong the market is. And we'd let the market push the price up to where they see.
Wait. You're listing at 30% below?
20 to 30, depending on the market conditions at the time.
That's scary. I'm a seller. I don't want to lose my house for that much.
We can start lower if you want, Ron.
Start lower?
Yeah, you can start at $1 if you really want. You want national news? Put your 4% commission with a $1 bidding to start from. We will blow up this whole world.
You get 4 cents for it.
It doesn't have to sell on the day. So that's one contract. That's one part of our contract that we have with our sellers, and we disclose to all buyers. So on the day of before auction, at auction, or for 60 days preceding the auction, the seller has the right to accept, reject, or negotiate.
Okay, so that's where the protection
takes away the risk. Absolutely.
So the seller really has nothing to lose.
No, I mean they've already been on the market, and typically for us, we pick up a lot of existing listings.
Okay.
I'd love more new listings, but we typically pick up a lot of existing listings, and they've been on the market for a time. They're exhausted. They want to get it moved. So what have they got to lose?
Okay, so let's just go with the number you just said. So you get $1 million property. It's been on the market and 6 months, and now you go in there and put it. Let's just use a number 700,000.
Yeah.
Doesn't that give the market say, hey, what's wrong with this property? Why are they? What's the?
It's funny. Every seller thinks what you just said. Every buyer thinks, hold on, I might get a deal here.
Really? So the buyers are not
The
thinking that
buyers
there's
are
a
thinking
problem.
deal. 9 times out of 10, I ask every buyer that comes through, and they all think, well, it looks like a great deal.
Interesting.
And the deal, I say, yeah, you're absolutely right. The deal is I'm going to help you find your dream home. That's the deal.
Okay.
Let me know, does this fit your criteria?
Now, what about qualifying for it? Are they qualifying for a $700,000 property for 20% down or 10% down?
And some may be. If they've got that's a good point, actually. If they've got a 20% down at 700, that means, knowing that we know what we know, they don't have to put 20% down. They can
Correct.
put 10, and we could increase their
Correct.
limit. Right?
Exactly.
So it's very important that we have a good level of dialogue between the lender and us and the listing agent, depending on who wants to coordinate the conversation. We've got to constantly be letting the lender know what the situation is, showing them all the disclosures and reports, and then getting their client pre-underwritten.
Well, that's the only way to do it anymore. So you got to have the pre-underwrite.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a lazy exit when people just give you a pre-approval. It doesn't really mean much. The ink on the paper is worth more.
Yeah, I laugh when people we want a pre-approval or we want an auto. You get agents that don't always understand the whole process. I want a DU approval. I can make a DU approval say anything I want it to say just by putting in good information or bad information.
Yeah.
Right. If I feed it the information, whether it's accurate or not, that fits the criteria, I'm going to get that approval.
Correct.
So that the pre-underwrite is a much more significant.
Absolutely.
However, in at least in that 28 days, you have time to get it.
Exactly. So we're giving people time. However, you can stop the auction from happening. That's actually, our days on market are actually 17. So
explain days on market.
So days on market is, with our program, you don't have to go to the auction.
Okay.
You can, if you're interested in the property. We've given you all the due diligence up front. So you can do your due diligence, get your financing in line, come in with a good, strong offer to entice the seller to stop the auction, and you got a deal.
So that $700,000 listing, I know the market value because my good agent explained to me that the market is really $950,000, $1,050,000, whatever.
Yeah. And that person might put down $1,050,000 because they know they're going to end up paying more on the day of the auction, and they just want to lock everyone out and they want to secure the property for themselves.
Interesting. So then it comes right off market and everyone goes their own way.
Then it's done. Escrow's open.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We're going to continue our conversation on the auction method with Simon. Did he come up with this on his own? We'll ask him that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by rsrnodebt.com, rsrnodebt.com. Why are you struggling with debts? We've told you about our 3% kill you loan. And no, I'm not talking about literally killing somebody. But that 3% loan could be killing you. rsr3pctloan.com, rsr3pctloan.com. You got debts and you got equity in your property. Why are you not trying to deal with this the smart way? rsr3pctloan.com. No equity in your property? You got debts. Give me a call. We'll put you in touch with Chris Corrales. He'll help you deal with that as well. There's solutions out there. You just need to explore. And as a consumer advocate for decades. We're always looking for solutions for you. I can't make the phone call for you. 800-306-1990. Go to rsrnodebt.com, rsrnodebt.com. Borrow smart. Brought to you by rsrnodebt.com. Continue our conversation. Simon Polito is with us. He's our auctioneer here. So, Simon, is this your own invention?
No, I wish I could say yes, but it's been around for centuries. It's been around for decades.
In real estate?
In real estate, absolutely.
Wow.
It's the oldest form of selling anything, from not just real estate, from personal items.
Well, I knew. I mean, you see it in some of the old movies about horse auctions and cattle auctions
Correct.
and things like that. But real estate,
Yeah, I mean, well, think of what's the most expensive thing ever sold at an auction, right? Artwork. And
Art,
that sells
yeah.
for a lot more money than what most real estate is sold.
sure, millions.
So if that can happen on a level of price that high, why wouldn't it be able to work on real estate, right?
Because a lot of those art pieces that they're doing that high is just money laundering. But I say that?
And maybe there's people doing that in real estate as well. Who knows? I don't want to know. La, la, la.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just another way. It was developed in. It's very affluent method in Australia, where
Okay.
I'm from. It's very affluent in New Zealand and Southern Asia as well as South Africa and into other European countries. But in the United States, it's definitely changed in the last 9 years of me living here, from a 5% recognition to, I want to say, about 30 to 35% recognition.
Okay, so people are actually understanding that it's going on.
Correct. They're seeing more and more of it. The world records have been set in Bel Air for the last 2 years running.
They're auctioning properties in Bel Air.
Yeah, remember that one called The One last year? Went to auction for $126 million.
Okay, and what did it sell for?
$126 million.
So they went to auction. That's
They
what
went to auction as an absolute auction. It had previously been listed at one stage for $500 million.
Wow.
It went down to 400 million, then it went to 300 million. The guy was into it for 200 million. A competing company of mine, which I won't say, went in and got the listing as an auction company. And they do what is known as an absolute auction, different to what I do, which means it absolutely sells on the day for whatever the highest bid is. Back to your point of about 2 cents or 20 cents, whatever it was. So that actually sold well under market value, in my opinion. There was a lot of excuses and reasons they gave by saying foreign markets weren't able to partake and whatnot, but that's what it was.
Well, if you can afford $128 million for a property, you can figure out how to get there to bid on it.
Correct. Now, here's the thing. It had a 12% buyer premium.
Explain buyer premium.
Buyer premium is an amount of money that the buyer will pay at the close of escrow. So if, for example, let's just say we're selling that $1 million house again, because it's easy for numbers. $1 million house, at the close of escrow, as one of your closing costs as a buyer, you'll have a $20,000 fee. You'd have a $20,000 fee if it was with us. We'd do a 2% buyer premium.
Okay.
You'd have a $120,000 fee if you were working with that competing company.
Wow.
You would have to
Same
pay
property.
on top of the price. Yes.
And you add that to the price, so it's not something that's coming out of the seller's pocket.
Correct. It's added to the price. Now, there are some buyers in this current market, which we're well aware of, that don't have liquid cash available.
Sure.
So they will end up putting their buyer premium inclusive of the purchase price to try and get financing for that.
Okay. And the lenders will allow that.
I haven't had a kickback yet. And it's been
Okay.
several years we've been
We're not
doing
talking
that.
about kickbacks, Simon.
No, I'm not having any pushback. I should
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
I haven't had any pushback from any lenders at this point because they see that this is part of the purchase price.
Sure. They just put it in. Basically, what I would assume is you just write one contract. You don't even.
Correct.
This is how we're breaking down the
Yeah,
fees
as long
of
as
the
we
contract.
itemize things correctly, everyone knows what's going on. There's no
Full disclosure.
Absolutely, over disclose.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing that I like with your process is that, when someone's going in making an offer on a property traditionally, what they're doing is then all the due diligence starts.
Mm-hmm.
In your process, it's already been done.
Correct. So we're selling properties non-contingent, no home inspection, no termite report contingency, and we're not giving them any contingencies for appraisal or loan because they've got their loan approved already.
Well, how do you know that the value is going to be going to work for the loan?
So in the case of an appraisal, which we are seeing that come out more and more of late because the market has been changing.
Sure.
There are some sellers that are open to accepting that as a clause, but not for as long a period.
Okay.
So they might say, okay, we'll give you 5 days to conduct an appraisal, but we're not renegotiating the sales price. It's just for you to get your financing. If you can't perform, then you're going to have to pull out.
Okay. So you have to have a lender that understands how to get the appraisal done that quick. Because most of the appraisers are wanting 7 days, but you can pay extra
5
to
to 7 days. You can get it expedited.
Yeah, you can pay extra to get it expedited.
Again, and we've given you all the other information, so you're not losing time.
So you're able to go and look at that home inspection report and the termite report all that stuff is available.
Correct. So we have hard copies at the open houses that we conduct, and at the open house we have a QR code you can scan. So consumers, being the buyers, can actually scan it with their phone, go home and look at it at their own leisure. Or if you're a listing or if you're a buyer's agent, you go on the MLS in the agent remarks. We've got a hyperlink there. You click that, takes you to the same website. You can download every document.
Interesting. That's pretty fascinating way of doing things. It's when I first started talking about this a few years back, I hadn't even heard of it for the process. I still don't hear about it very often.
I've been doing a lot more coincidentally, a lot more in LA.
Okay.
Because again, like we pointed out earlier, sellers are running out of ways to sell their house because no one wants to buy in LA right now.
So your car can't sputter at the county line.
So no, I can't. I can't at all. No, if not, I'm in big trouble. But so now we're picking up a lot of listings that have been on the market for a period of time. They haven't had the traction they were hoping for. They're now at a point where they're in trouble or they need to meet the market and move on with their life.
So why would I want to have you do a live auction instead of doing it on Zoom or on?
Love this question.
Okay.
Love this question.
I thought it was a good one.
Have you ever been online shopping?
Of course, I'm on Amazon all the time. I try and block my wife.
So have you ever got to the point where you've been clicking and buying all these things, you get to your cart and you're like, oh no, I can't afford any of that.
Right.
So a little trick I do is I just close the window and you can't go back and find everything, right?
Okay.
Now, like you could do that with a real estate transaction.
Oh, Amazon keeps it all
You could
right
be making
there.
bids, and they go, oh no, you know what, I'm out, pull out. There's a lot of you end up in a lawsuit. It's not as honest, it's not as transparent. And then what we're seeing with a lot of my competitors, again, I won't mention them, they're in a lot of lawsuits right now for fake bids. You can't police. How do you police that? Whereas with us, when we have a live auction, to be able to get a paddle to bid on the day, you've got to put 3% into an escrow account.
Okay.
So I know everyone who's got a paddle has got money on the table already.
So they've already got some skin in the game.
And that helps a seller see that the people who are bidding are real.
You can understand how it'd be interesting to see how some of these companies would police, the fake bidder.
There was a big one in Florida Keys. It was over $40 million with fake bids. And the buyer somehow found out that he was duped into paying more than what he should have. And he's now suing that company. Look, a lot of agents, a lot of auctioneers, I should say, during COVID switched to digital, and we did partly. But I truly believe I get much better results when I'm live.
Sure.
That's what I train for. And it's more fun.
Now, when you say doing it live as opposed to digital, is Zoom considered digital or StreamYard? Is that digital?
So there's three styles, right? You've got the online style, which is like an eBay, where you have no interaction with anybody. You're purely just pressing a button against the clock.
Right.
Then you have the live auctions, which is virtually streamed.
Right.
Which I still feel is good, but nothing will ever replace, in my mind, physically standing at the property, pointing out the attributes.
I would think like a hybrid where you have the streaming and the live together.
So we offer the streaming for people who can't make it to the auction.
Yeah.
So they can partake in it. Or if people don't want to do that, they can just submit a proxy bid or have some bid on their behalf.
The whole idea of it sounds to me like the goal is to get the most possible people involved.
Correct.
Interesting. You want more information about auctioning your house with the protections from Simon Polito? Give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I'd be happy to put you in touch with Simon. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.